to another edition of the Boy and Podcast. I was actually on mute, so you guys probably couldn't hear me, but I am here with Zoo and Peepush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Spending Valentine's with the guys. Can't go wrong with it, man. So happy Valentine's Day to any of our lady listeners, man. Lady listeners.
Yeah, the few that we have.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I did feel the love yesterday, though, man. That Super Bowl, man, great game. Thank you, Chiefs, for making me some money. Shout out to Patty Mahomes, man. That's all I got to say. He showed me love, man.
I thought you were going to shout out that Bulls Magic game last night.
No, stop. I'm done with them, man. I'm breaking up with the Bulls, man. I'm taking a break from the Bulls, man. It's a toxic relationship, man. It's a toxic relationship.
No. That definitely the definition of a toxic relationship. Yeah, and I feel like other people have that with their favorite teams. But yeah, shout out to all the few lady listeners that we do have on Valentine's Day. Hope you guys are ready to hear a lot of NBA trade talk and a lot of reaction on the Super Bowl. But we're going to first start with the Super Bowl. And, I would say personally that was one of the better Super Bowls just in terms of a scoring matchup, the back and forth, the of course, drama at the end. It just feels, people have been talking a lot about scripts, which I don't think that was in play right here. But it's funny just seeing how the game trended and how it ended. Just it's the theater of the NFL, and it's kind of sad to see that it won't be any more games for a decent while anyways. But I wanted to ask their guys their reaction on the game, what they thought about it, and people, I'm going to start with you.
Man, 7 months with no football, man. The most depressing time of the year. Sadly, it's in the minority of the calendar year. Man, this was a great Super Bowl. I think, I thought there would be a little bit more defense, and especially on the Eagles side. Man, you see what Deebo Samuel said about the Eagles defense this year? You guys see about
that? Niners are ripping. All the Niners. Brandon Ayuk, he's like Chiefs all day. Like
they're just pissy they had to go with Josh Johnson, Zoo. Come on,
Salty.
That's the worst player I've ever seen.
But man, I mean, he wasn't wrong. I mean, and I think we had talked about it that this defense really hadn't been tested, at least in the playoffs, and we know that the aura of the playoffs has a lot different of a tone than the regular season. So this was really the first true test. The D-line got zero pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and even when they did, he was actually able to run. He had that game-clinching, 30-yard run. Zoo, I'm sure, was jumping out of his chair watching that, knowing he was about to win the money line. Obviously, we got a little bit of an iffy call there at the end. Call it whatever you want. He did hold him a bit, but
you admitted it, man. He admitted to the crime after, man. No controversy. And if someone committed murder and they admits the murder, there's no controversy, man. You just move on, man.
There's an analogy.
That's what it is, man. Where's the controversy, man? He admitted it. Let's move on, man. Let's move on. If you want to blame anything, blame the defense, not that call. That's all I got.
And you got to kind of blame Jalen Hurts, man. He played nearly a perfect game. 4 total touchdowns, 300 passing yards, 70 rushing yards. But man, that fumble recovery for a touchdown was absolutely crucial. I mean, that takes away a potential scoring possession for an Eagles offense that was flying. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown were both on one. Goddard was doing his thing. The only thing, man, the rushing attack, under 3 yards a carry outside of Jalen Hurts, man. That's something we have not seen out of this offense all year. Miles Sanders had 7 carries, 16 yards, something like that. Gainwell had some nice plays out of the backfield in the receiving game. But, man, based on how this game played out, the Chiefs played better defense, quote unquote, right? Came up with the bigger plays individually. And the Eagles defense is the one that kind of choked. It's not at all what everybody predicted. As Travis Kelce said, man, everyone had the Eagles. I don't think we found out the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly. God, get out of here, Travis. Exactly. Then I love Kelce, but
you got to look at the panel that he was referring to.
Oh, yeah, dude. Everybody on the Fox panel picked the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's just embarrassing. I'm stopping. Everybody?
But everybody. Hey, I think we can all agree at least. I wanted Jalen Hurts to have the potential to go for a game-winning drive. We all wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And look,
that's not my only beef. That's my only beef.
They would have been up. Even I'm not that mad at the call. Live, I thought it was a little touchy. It's still a penalty, right? But you just don't like it at that time of the game. But like everyone says, man, there's more than just that one play that decides a game. The fumble being one of them. Butker's lucky that his doink didn't come back and haunt him. Because both teams had some iffy points. So, yeah, man, it was a great Super Bowl. I do wish Hurts had a chance to go for the tire for the win, but much deserved by the Mahomes squad, man, because A lot of people counted him out at the beginning of the year too, man, without Tyreek, and they proved him wrong.
All I gotta say is I followed my rule, man. Never bet against Mahomes, baby. Never bet against Mahomes. You know the rules about NFL football betting, man. You can't bet against this dude. This dude in the second half played perfect football. He had one incompletion. That offensive line played like Hall of Fame linemen. Mahomes did not get touched by this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. The Kansas City Chiefs general manager saw the issue against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he shored up their offensive line. So that Super Bowl against that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team where Mahomes is running for his life would never happen again. They learned their lesson. They got to protect their asset, which is Patrick Mahomes. If you give Mahomes time to throw, I don't care who you're throwing to. Juju Smith-Schuster, Nico Harman, I don't care who you're going to throw it to. Like, the dude's going to get it done. If you give Mahomes time, it's over. Because his ability to even run on a bum ankle, man. Yeah, especially at half, like right before halftime, he got like a little hit on him, and he saw him like screaming in pain on the bench because like he tweaked a little. But that second half, he looked even better, man. Like dude played perfect football after re-aggravating that injury, man. A high ankle sprain, man. So like not only like Mahomes played golly football in the second half, I got to shout out Isaac Pacheco. This dude runs with brute force, man. Like he's a straight up like Marshawn Lynch. Like
he runs hard.
He just runs straight through people. This guy's like I think it was like 6th round or 7th round pick or something. Like this dude was a late pick, and this dude balled out. Like I just took the job from CEH, and the guy had 15 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown, man. So shout out to Pacheco, man. But outside of Mahomes and Pacheco, man. Kadarius Toney. No, Kadarius Toney.
Oh.
That's special. Like I don't know. They put in Kadarius Toney everywhere. This dude's a receiver. They put him on special teams, man. And that play, that return, that won them the game. Yep. That won him the game. That ability to avoid all the egos, turn a different direction, even getting touched. He got touched, man. It wasn't a clean sweep. Like he got touched. He made a move, ran to the right side, and pretty much got them like 10 yards away from the goal line. And he put Mahomes in the red zone. Barbecue chicken, man. Barbecue chicken with Andy Reid calling his play calls, man. Wide receivers running in and out, wide open touchdowns. Wide open. He did the same play twice. One on the right side, one on the left side. One to the rookie and one to Toney. So I'm like telling you, man, Patrick Mahomes, he got 2 Super Bowls now. 2 MVPs, man. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and his resume is a top 3 quarterback of all time already. Andy Reid, this guy is trying to go for one. He's going for the greatest coach of all time because this dude's unbelievable. This dude is unbelievable. Every stop he makes it to the Super Bowl, and he's never had an elite quarterback until having Mahomes, and what he's done with Mahomes.
McNabb.
Just win. All he does is win, man. Andy Reid, all he does is win, man. All he does.
That's before Zoo's time.
Man, stop McNabb, man.
I don't think Zoo was born yet.
He ain't no first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, man. You need a legit quarterback to win.
No, you're right.
He was a dude, though.
He was nasty. You need one of those dudes to win Super Bowls, unless you have a ridiculous defense, which Andy Reid is not more. He's an offensive guy. So I'm telling you right now, man, we watched a miracle.
Yeah.
We watched Patrick Mahomes beat. I still think, like, outside the quarterback position, even Jalen Hurts, man, he played like a god, man.
Yeah.
He played like a god. This dude at the 2-yard line, 1-yard line, unstoppable.
Yep.
Unstoppable. If it's 4th and 1, I got to shout out the Eagles. The coaching, 4th down, go for it. We're playing against the Chiefs. Go
aggressive all game. Yeah.
They did not change identities from the regular season or the earlier playoffs. They went with their game plan. They played great football. Like outside of the Hurts fumble, like they didn't turn the ball over. Yeah. Like there's not that many penalties, man. It was a clean game. It was just the Chiefs, man, made a little extra special teams, man, and Patrick Mahomes being a god at football, man. So shout outs to him winning his 2nd title, man. Yeah. You know what they say, man. Don't bet against greatness, man. Just bet on greatness and get paid out for it, man. So
and he didn't even get that much volume, Zoo. That was the thing. I mean, he had like 180 yards. He was just efficient. Got his 45 on the ground, which is definitely above his season average, if I were to guess, especially coming off the bum ankle. So, yeah, man. It was a great game. I thought it was the best Super Bowl I've watched since probably the Nick Foles one.
Oh, the Nick Foles against Tom Brady.
That one, and then obviously the Bucks, or not the Bucks, the Patriots Falcons comeback was also great. Those are probably the 3.
Yeah, that was
three best in the last 10 years or so, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not a Super Bowl historian, but that's how I ranked it. Like I almost prefer this one over the Patriots one, just because more so just. I mean, that was probably more thrilling, but I think this game was more back and forth. Like I felt like it was more tale of two halves with the Patriots and Falcons. But
that's true. You
guys hit it on the head with just how Mahomes and him just being the quarterback he is. I do think we shouted him out, or you guys shouted him out a little bit earlier, but the offensive line for the Chiefs, I think, heard all the chatter. I think they did. I think they personally got offended. And you got to also think of one thing I kind of took from this, looking back on it. Like, this is a one-game scenario, the Super Bowl. So, we could talk about, like, what is your trends? What have you done before? Things of that nature. But these are all separate games in the playoffs. And when you're getting to the level of the Super Bowl, more times than not, you're going to get some people may clam up and not perform well, but most of these guys are professionals for a reason. So they're going to play to their highest ability. So they're going to do everything and be locked in. Like to Zoo's point, they want a lot of penalties because these guys are locked in. They're trying to win the Super Bowl. You don't get this opportunity all the time. You're not just going to be back, right? So, I think the Chiefs kind of looked at meetings and was like, yeah, I know they're third on the all-time sacks list, but we're going to take this personal. We're going to shut down a lot of these guys. Now, Hassan Reddick was getting some havoc, but he wasn't getting to Mahomes, and that was the point. Mm-hmm. Mahomes was still mobile enough to, like, make moves and make throws. And that kind of was something that I just didn't expect because even though Mahomes had, like, 2 weeks of having, his, like, ankle being healed, I just still think from a high ankles perspective, you're just thinking, like, he's not going to be able to make that 30-yard run that he made late in the game. Like, nobody expected that, especially put on top of the fact that he sprained it early in the first. So just seeing
he re-aggravated it. Yeah,
it's just like just seeing that is like it shows you just the type of grit and will that Patrick Mahomes has. He's worth every penny. But for me, I kind of, for me, I was kind of in a win-win situation. Like, everybody was on a Joe Burrow train. And I was like, relax, it's Pat, like, relax. And he showed it in the Super Bowl. But I came across for that game being so impressed with Jalen Hurts outside of that fumble. Like, we got to start having some real conversations about how good Jalen Hurts is. Mm-hmm. He's better than a lot of everybody's favorite quarterbacks. We're going to start having that conversation. I don't want to hear Josh Allen name no more. I don't want to hear it. He's not Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen had a home playoff game against Joe Burrow and got beat down. I don't want to hear his name no more. People are going to say, well, he's got the weapons. Again, name me the quarterback who does not have weapons who's great. Name it. And I'm not saying you guys. I'm just because I've been seeing it on my DMs and Instagram. Name it. I don't see the guy. So to me, Jalen Hurts, like, I think he's a victim of this story at Alabama not being great. Like, and then he had to go to Oklahoma to prove himself. And there's this narrative that runs with him, like, well, he's a running quarterback. Like, he's just no. He improved. And he's in like that throw on 3rd and 14 to Dallas Goedert was a dot.
Yeah.
That was a high pressure. If he don't make that throw, they're probably down by 2 scores. He had to and like endless
help me hit my bet too. Mm-hmm.
It's like, bro, he like, because speaking of Zeus' point about it being aggressive, he could have, maybe made a check down and got it to like a 4th and 5 and gone for it on 4th down because you're gonna go for it on that down. But it's like he went for the go-at throw, and Goddard made a hell of a catch in the toe tap on the sideline. Like, but that is a risky throw, and he was throwing it all game. Now he had the fumble, and that pretty much I wouldn't say that cost him the game because at that time you're not thinking because I think they were up 10, but it ended up costing them the game because that resulted in the touchdown.
That was a huge momentum.
It was weird because it's like I don't know because I don't think he was trying to pitch. He just like lost it. It's like
he lost the ball. No one touched him. The ball just slipped out of his hands.
It's like what happened to Mahomes. Like I'm not.
Oh yeah, the Mahomes.
Yeah, it's the exact same fumble as Mahomes.
Just like
against the Bengals. Just kind of let it fly on the pullback.
It happens.
And I was just like, at the moment, I kind of was like, that ain't gonna matter. But then when I saw Mahomes
when that happened, I'm like, you know what happened after that? Going out, Chiefs money line, baby. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm saying. And when that happened, I'm like, okay, this is the point. Because that first half, the Eagles straight up were whooping their ass.
Yeah, they were.
Their offense was rolling. Every single play was positive yards. I was like, this Eagles team is legit, man. It ain't no fluke. They might have whooped some bad teams. But after that first half, I was like, okay, this team's legit and stuff. Yeah. But that one play, so they got lucky. They got lucky.
Because that was like the second quarter, right?
Second
late
quarter.
Second quarter.
That happened. A free touchdown in the playoffs. Yeah.
Can't get away from
that was the play, I think, decided the game. That was the play.
That and their ability to get Juju going early in the second half was huge because I don't know if you guys saw, Kelsey was banged up in the second half. He was clearly grimacing on the sideline a couple times, wasn't in as much. I was like, come on, man, I need that 100 yards. Didn't get it. But Juju got going, and I think that was a big thing. They were able to kind of get Tony going on that one play, like you said, Sky Moore. Mahomes just uses what he's got, man.
That Tony play was huge, though.
I should say Andy Reid uses what he's got, man.
Dude, it was Andy Reid, man. I'm telling you, like,
makes it work.
Every time you see interviews about, like, interviewing Mahomes and Kelsey, trying to give them credit, they always mention Andy Reid for a reason.
The cheeseburger king, man.
Exactly. Like, this dude makes it. Like, there's a reason why Travis Kelsey is always wide open.
Yeah.
It's because of the coaching, putting you in a position to get wide open. It's the scheme. It's not like an offensive scheme that's very predictable.
It's Matt Nagy, of course.
It's always something different. It's always something different on offense. Like, it makes the defense question themselves. So the scheme getting these guys open, like, man, it's quite beautiful. But speaking of Hurts again, man, I got to shout out the wide receivers on the Eagles too, man. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown balled out, man.
Yep.
Like, Jalen Hurts, that dude just throwing bombs down the field, man. A.J. Brown double coverage. I got A.J. Brown. He's just better than you. He's just better than you. That one bomb.
That throw was a dime.
He just chucked it down there. And A.J. Brown had to track that ball.
Yeah,
it was like he had to like go towards the ball and get him that touchdown. And that beautiful dime Devontae Smith too. So I'm like, my goodness, those young guys really, really showed up, man. This Eagles team is legit.
Quiz Watkins having that
drop. That was a tough one. Watkins of that, because that was a beauty, man. That was a beauty. Man. But you know what the rules? You got Goddard, you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith. Your fourth guy's going to be a scrub. So that happened, man. Ladies, like,
it's the law of averages.
Cute story, man.
Like, you got studs, man, that catches the footballs. You got duds that drops footballs, man. So it happens on the team, man. But I remember that.
I really like Quiz Watkins, but yeah.
Yeah, Sean, you were a big Quiz Watkins guy, if I remember correctly.
Last year on fantasy, like I thought he was going to be, and then AJ Brown came, but I thought he was going to have a way bigger role this year before we knew the AJ Brown trade. But to me, I watching that Super Bowl and watching both of those quarterbacks go back and forth, I hope the world was able to see like when you have certain types of quarterbacks, just like you have the story of, even though Mahomes is God mode right now, but even when Mahomes came into the draft, like nobody in the draft thought Mahomes was going to be doing this. But
wait a minute, I got to shout out someone, man. Michael Vick, man, he was hyping on Mahomes. I still remember that. He really opened my eyes when Michael Vick was describing this dude. So I got to shout out Michael Vick.
Shout out Michael Vick. I did not know that. I did not know.
I remember because obviously him and Andy Reid has a relationship, and he used to do commentary for Fox. He was like watching him in practice. And he was like, this dude's unbelievable. Can make every throw. So I was like, oh, okay. And second year, I was like, okay, I'm all in. But shout out to Michael Vick for calling out Mahomes being good before everyone knew. So shout out to him.
And I guess you can give the Eagles staff, because I don't know if Hurts was on the early second round, because he got picked. It's not like Hurts was a third or fourth round. The Eagles. And you got to also give Eagles credit because they took him having Carson Wentz.
I remember that.
That kind of maybe told you what they saw in Jalen Hurts to that staff. But I just think, with those two quarterbacks, you just see the progression. We know Mahomes has become God mode, but I came out that game thinking we need to have a better respect for Jalen Hurts. I don't want to hear he's a running quarterback. Philadelphia needs to pay him, and you need to understand the leader.
Guaranteed, man. Guaranteed, man. I want to get as much guaranteed money as possible. Because
like you said, that is the biggest thing, I think. Yeah,
his leadership ability. Like you got the coach Sirianni, man. Like he had to calm his coach down. Like he's more mature.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
He's like, yo, chill. Like he's your quarterback. Your less than 25-year-old quarterback is more mature than the head coach. Just think about that. Just think about that.
That's wild. Sirianni's kind of got a lot of that, like, and I don't want to make any stereotypes, but he's got a lot of that frat kind of like that type of attitude. And I actually, personally, I actually like Sirianni, just more so like his mannerisms on the sideline are he's just funny to watch because he just seems like a stick it to you type of coach. But yeah, I did see that. Like it was when they were reviewing the play and Hurts like kind of put his hand down. I thought that was hilarious because it's just like kind of, stay in the moment. Don't get too hyped. Because, the Eagles were rolling at that point. Like, I think Sirianni was thinking this was about to be a blowout. So he was just already kind of like hype and was like, yeah, I'm going to start talking my, right now. But salute to the Super Bowl, man. The NFL delivers every time. It was cool out in Phoenix. Oh, one other beef I had was the freaking field, bro. Like, how do you have the Super Bowl in the field?
Slipping and sliding, man.
Slipping everywhere.
Come on, bro. Man. You spend all that money, and you have like, and somebody was saying, I didn't know this, but I think when Cam Newton played Auburn, when they had the national championship there, they said the field was in the same condition, like it was really bad, which I don't remember much of that game.
We don't want those running quarterbacks really winning, man. There's the script.
Listen, let me tell you, man, I'm not. That is the league now. If you can have a guy who's the drop back, whatever, that is done. That is officially dead. If you have a quarterback that cannot move, you're done in this league. I don't care how accurate he is. You got to have a quarterback with a baseline. And people will be like, well, look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is athletic as hell.
He can run. He's a runner, man. He can really scramble too.
Yeah, so you got to have a guy with a baseline of athleticism. That's why and we're going to be talking about this later, like on in the road when we start talking about NFL and draft. These quarterbacks that can't move, guess what? You're not going to be able to pick that because there's no quarterback that's in the top 5 or 6 that cannot move. They all can run really well. So it's just kind of like that's the baseline. So the whole like having a quarterback that can run and be able to make passes and do all stuff is ideally what you want. So salute to the NFL. I was talking crap earlier in the week. I was talking crap earlier in the week, not season, but earlier in the week saying the NBA dominated. Well, the Sunday made up for it. The Sunday made up for it. NBA domination. They made up for it.
Absolutely.
So kudos to them. Kudos from the NFL always knows what they're doing.
God damn.
But speaking of the NBA, we have this, we were talking about this pre-pod, like we should start moving the deadline or our pod to the actual deadline, day of the deadline. Because there was just so much information that came out after our pod. And most of you guys know Kevin Durant got traded to the Suns, and that happened, around 1 o'clock. So a lot of us missed that. To be exact. To be exact. So that, along with a slew of other moves, happened in the NBA. So I wanted to give the guys a chance to react to what they thought was one of the more pivotal moves for teams or some of the trades that didn't make sense. And Zoo, I'm going to start with you.
Man, gotta start with the KD, man, because we saw the precursor, man. I still remember when Kyrie Irving got traded. I'm like, okay, that is the first domino. KD's not going to want to be there, and we find out he secretly requested a trade with Brooklyn Nets, saying, I want to be on the Suns. We're going to keep it low-key, not let any other teams do, and just negotiate with the Suns and try to get a deal done. So that's pretty much what happened. Like, my goodness, man. Kevin Durant got his late again, man. He wanted to go to his number 1 team that was leaked during the summertime, Phoenix Suns, but that was a DeAndre Ayton package. They didn't really want to include Mikal Bridges. They wanted to do like a DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson package with a bunch of picks for KD. But they're like, nah. We need Mikal Bridges at least back there as that, I guess, that blue chip piece. One nice young player back, and then the infinite draft picks and Cam Johnson. So, my goodness, that trade. When I saw that trade, man, it was like 1 a.m. I was on Twitter all day scrolling. I was waiting for some Bulls news. That's why I was out late on Twitter, man. I was waiting for some Bulls news, man. Scrolling down that Twitter feed, I'm like, but then I see Kate. Because, man, I still had a little hope, man. KD to the Chicago Bulls. Had to change the profile picture, man. Had to scrap that, man. It's over now.
Yeah,
he's a Phoenix Suns now. I got to move on to my next dream now because that dream has crashed. Yes, Victor Wembanyama in the Bulls uniform. That will be my next profile picture, man. That's my next dream now. But KD to the Suns, man. KD to the Suns.
Yeah.
With Devin Booker. My goodness, what a combination. You got 2 of the most skilled basketball players in the world on the same roster. Oof. Like, they played with each other on the Olympics, so they obviously have a relationship. You got the point guard, even though the point guard got a little old now, man. This dude, 38 years old, man. He's averaging career low in points. Like, he's averaging like 13 points. So he's getting close to that role player level. So I cannot say it's a super team. Because if Chris Paul is in a prime, that's a super team, man. You got KD, obviously, I think he's a top 3 player, man. Devin Booker, I think he's a top 10 player. And then CP3 in his prime would have been up there too. But it's not a super team. But you got another dynamic duo, man. I'm telling you, these NBA dynamic duos, man, I'm loving having an all-star pair with another all-star. You need one buddy. I don't want no solo acts, man. I want Batman and Robin, man. I don't want no Superman trying to carry a franchise, man. That does not work in this NBA. That does not work in the NBA. So having a guy you could definitely rely on in the playoffs, KD, man, you got D-Book. West is wide open. Get it done. Get it? You got your way again.
Highest of expectations.
You try to build your own franchise in Brooklyn. I'm the face of the franchise. I'm building my own super team. Obviously, that was an epic collapse. Losing Harden, losing Kyrie, and now losing KD. They're down to nothing now. So, boom.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. My goodness.
He's the linchpin now in Brooklyn.
Oh, Jesus.
Him and Nick Claxton, dude.
Oh, yeah. Nick Claxton better than Ben Simmons now. Nick Claxton is better than
Ben. Cam Thomas.
Ben Simmons, I don't know what the hell happened to that dude. That might be the straight up trash, man. My goodness, Ben Simmons trash. But man, the West is wide open. Get it done with Devin Booker. You have DeAndre Ayton at the center. Shout out to the Suns for not having to trade DeAndre Ayton. So he's still got I would say he's a top 5 center in the NBA. Got D-Book, CP3, man, KD. Jesus Christ, have mercy, man. This team is locked and loaded to win a championship this year.
Yeah, this year. Jaws regretting that text, man. He's like, I ain't worried about the West.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, now he should be worried, man.
They got their hands full now.
Hey, arms race right now.
I mean, I know we already talked about the Kyrie trade, but man, you see that game last night. Neither one of them knew who wanted to take the last shot, man.
They got that'll come to work out.
That'll right now, man. They both don't want to look selfish, man.
They both yeah. I think that's a good thing. You know, that shows that they're trying to work together, but the chemistry will be there at some point. I'm sure they'll come up with good situational basketball down there in Dallas. But yeah, man. I mean, Phoenix. I think you hit the nail on the head, Zoo. Wide open West. You got to go for it. KD was obviously and had been interested for at least a year. At least a year. I'm sure it was even before that, with everything going on with Harden, even before the whole Kyrie situation. So I think this is ideal for all parties. The Nets finally got some draft picks back from their major bad trade history. We all know about the Paul Pierce, KG, man, bringing those old heads, trying to bring back the Nets back.
I forgot about that until I saw
they lost a lot of draft capital over the years.
Jalen Brown.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's who it ended up being. So they're trying to make up for it, get some picks back, kind of blow it up at that point. I think the trade with Kyrie to kind of get Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith back was to maybe entice KD to stay, say, hey, we're giving you a little bit of help. That ain't enough, man. He wants to play with a bona fide all-star in Devin Booker, a seasoned veteran in Chris Paul, man. I think they have – I'm interested to see the Nuggets, and that's a trade I want to bring up real quick because it was kind of a quiet one. But them getting Thomas Bryant was a nice little addition. Great. It gives, a good depth to the bench, but it gives relief to Jokic, and I think that's huge because we've talked about him, I think, a couple times. Thomas Bryant's had a quietly nice little season out there in Los Angeles. Now he'll have a little bit, probably a slightly less role just because of how important Jokic is on the floor for the Nuggets. But I thought that was a nice little addition. Let's see, who else? John Wall back to Houston, man. And then he gets cut. Zeus, sorry, man. Rest in peace. Eric Gordon.
John Wall, welcome to the Bulls, man. I am open for point guard. We got point guard tryouts.
I thought you wanted Westbrook.
Yeah, exactly. Westbrook, that was the other one.
It's called backup plan. Westbrook, if he says no, John Wall.
Okay, so the Westbrook trade, I mean, we got Eric Gordon got sent back to the Clippers. I actually kind of like that addition. Just even more three-point shooting for the Los Angeles Clippers team, man. Jesus Christ. But, man, the Lakers kind of getting a little bit of a steal, in my opinion, and just getting Russell Westbrook off the books, man.
They only have to trade one of their picks.
And only one
protected, which that was the most shocking part.
And the Wolves are just
top four.
It's huge. Man. That is huge.
I don't know. He pulled it off Danny Ainge?
Because the protection is, if it's top four, it turns into a second-round pick.
That's crazy protection.
That's a really, really good protection.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And, I mean, I think it's a bit of a – I mean, we knew the Jazz were going to be sellers, right? I think that was an obvious part of this deadline. But I don't know. I like, D'Lo back in LA. I feel like he will like that a lot more than he would Minneapolis. I feel like he's a warm weather thriver, that's for sure. And then Malik Beasley, Sean, I know you're a big fan of Malik. He can rain, man.
He's a shooter.
And if there's anything that we've learned over the years of watching LeBron, man, if you can give him shooters around for him to drive and kick out to, they'll win some games, man. So I don't know. Not that they're gunning for anything. I don't think this changes everything drastically in the West. But for this team, it probably punches them at least. I feel like that's like a future seed. And that's also a little bit of future play. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe it'll revitalize deloading.
I really like Jared Vanderbilt. I watched him in that game against Golden State, dude. He has he's a 4 or 5 who can bring the ball up court and can make subtle moves. Like I was not familiar with Jared Vanderbilt's game at all, but his energy and just moving around, like I think he could be a really nice out of all the guys. I mean, I love Malik Beasley, but I think he could be a really big piece going forward, and he could actually get probably a decent quarterback. KD for me, that is the game breaker. When you get a guy like Kevin Durant, who's one of the greatest small forwards, scoring small forwards of all time, you get him on your team, championship or bust. There's no like, hey, let's figure out how to, because not only is it championship or bust, the Suns have already gotten to a finals and was up 2-0. So it's not like this is poverty franchise. It's like, I'm not saying Brooklyn's a poverty franchise, but it's like they're not like this small time franchise, like take us to the promised land. Like the Suns, they have something about them. They had D-Book and they had Chris Paul, who, to Zoo's point, is aging, but it's championship or bust. It's just the only thing that I get hesitant about, and just with every team. I mean, you see it with the Lakers now, is injuries. Like, KD is not shown to be healthy. And I know it's exciting to get KD, but it's like and D-Book kind of on the low has been injured a lot.
He always tweaks his like his hamstring. It's always lower body, like muscle tissue.
He's legs. I don't like leg injuries. Yeah, I don't like when legs are always part of your injury report. Like same thing with Zion we're seeing. Like I think he tore his hamstring. They're saying he re-aggravated it, which means he probably tore it because he's been out for a while. And if you see the play that he actually got injured on, it was just him dribbling up the court. So that's just a whole lot of different problems that the Pelicans are going to have in the future. But it's just all health. Like if you say they're healthy, they're going to the finals because KD has proven and Book has proven that they are both clutch players. Chris Paul, even though he's aging, he just needs to be somebody who doesn't turn the ball over and I almost think he's like, because he's the leader of the team, so he needs to be that pseudo leader. And then you have DeAndre Ayton. Get your rebounds, get your putbacks, get your open little 15-footers if you can do that, and just be active. If they all play within their role, the only thing I could maybe see being like, how we were just saying with Kyrie and Luka, they're trying to figure each other out. Like D-Book has kind of just always been the man. And I'm pretty sure KD got there because he wanted KD there. But it's easy to say, a lot. It's just like we've always talked about. Yeah, you just get the star talent, we'll figure it out. But I think Book's mentality is, he will probably never say this publicly, but he thinks he's the number one guy. Like, he's going to think that. But you can't when KD is on your team. KD is the number one option. So I want to see how that works, which I think it will, because I think Book
wants to win, man. He wants to win, man.
He wants Suns in 4, man.
He wants to win, man. He got his super max, man. He got his super max, KD. Welcome to the team, man.
He's got his money, yeah.
Take a step back. They got to figure that out. Curry did with the Warriors, man. It's the same scenario. Same exact scenario, man.
Yeah.
And the thing with KD, man, he doesn't want to be a leader. He has said that I am not a leader. Having Chris Paul as a leader of a franchise,
there's no choice. He's going to be a leader. Okay,
you be the leader. I be the superstar, dropping 30 a game.
Yep.
It's just a nice fit, man. It's a nice fit in culture. Like, because obviously Kyrie Irving was the leader for the Brooklyn Nets, and that was an absolute disaster.
Facts.
True. You got Chris Paul,
and that's why I think Harden left when he left, because I think Harden has a little bit of that. I want to be like, I'm an alpha dog, like the alpha of alphas. I think Harden has a little bit. That's why I think he was the first one to leave, because he's like, oh no, we're not going to just be listening to Kyrie. Like, and he got out, and then Kyrie ended up getting out, but that was more so about he wanted his contract. And then Katie was left holding the bag, and Katie was like, "Well, this is bull crap. I'm going too."
I can't need Nick Claxton and Joe Harris, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's not going to be a fair fight. So yeah, that is going to be the interesting part. Barring health, I think the Phoenix Suns are definite. But it's going to be interesting, man, because I think we all kind of, and if we really want to have a real conversation, like, and people gonna think I'm crazy saying this, I want to see KD actually do it, not being in Golden State. He's a great player, but he has not gotten nowhere to the finals since he left Golden State. That's a conversation that people just don't want to have, because they just like to, and for good reason, because KD's such a great player. But I mean, if I'm deep, I'm looking at KD like, brother, like, I led the Phoenix Suns to the finals with Chris Paul and whoever. Like, you had whatever. I get it, but we gotta. This is very vital for KD, because if he don't work here, that's tough.
He knows his basketball resume is missing something.
That's why he left.
Yeah,
it is missing something. Like, what even before Steph Curry won his title last year, man, he was missing that Finals MVP. Like he knew it, he wanted it, and that's why it was so special for him. Because that first year that he won it, Iggy won the Finals MVP.
That was fraudulent. Oh my god,
it was fraudulent, but it did happen. It did happen. Iguodala won the Finals.
Every writer should have been suspended for a year for that. They should have. Whoever voted for Iggy. That was so.
That year, I would have voted. That year, I would have voted for LeBron James as the Finals MVP since the average.
I wouldn't have done that, but I would have voted for Steph.
That's a horrible series, man.
I would have voted for LeBron. Steph Curry obviously playing with Durant. Durant was winning the Finals MVP. And then he got it done against the Celtics, and he validated his existence. And that's why people are talking about this dude's a top 10 player now.
Yeah,
this dude's a top 10 player after that. So I believe KD gets it done with this Phoenix Suns roster. D-Book is the second option. And it's a good team, but it ain't no super team like that Warriors team. Then the consensus in the basketball world will be like, okay, KD's top 10. I already have in my top 10.
Wait. So you put him over Steph?
What?
If he got this ring this year, you put him over Steph?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
It's hard to say.
I don't know.
I can see the argument for Steph Curry. Because one thing about Steph, I like his leadership. He got that tangible leadership that KD just doesn't have. That's the one thing. Steph Curry fits his leadership, man. No BS, man.
I can't do it.
But
it is tough, but I can't do it.
I'm taking the 6'11" guy. That's my. I'm taking the 6'11" guy.
No, as a player, I'd rather have KD, but technically, yeah. If we're talking about just stature alone,
I love my bigs when they actually have skills, because that means you're unstoppable, man. When you're a big with no skills, stop.
Very fair.
Yo, Russell,
fair. No skills. But yeah, we all agree this is definitely this is a big one for KD. He has to at least to me this year, because it's not like he's a free agent next year. Like at least this year, I want to see him in the finals. I want to see them in the finals and going against whoever comes out the East, but. That is the blueprint. Like you said, he wants Book, who's another go-getter, who's not scared of the moment. Chris Paul, who's gonna put whoever is the fifth or sixth guy in the lineup, or the sixth or seventh guy in the lineup. He's gonna put them in line. He's gonna have that leadership aspect. And you got a big like DeAndre Ayton, who I know has had his issues with Monty, but he's gonna be a guy who's gonna be very vital because he's gonna be a guy who's gonna be able to match up with other big guys like a Jokic, and he's going to be able to tire him out. Like this, like you said, there's going to be his role is going to be very important. So it is interesting to see. I do want to see them play at least 5 to 10 games to see how it looks. And even then, that still might not be enough sample size. But it's going to be interesting because, like saying the West, man, it's so tightly contested. You just don't know who's going to do what. Because Steph, I don't even know how long Steph's going to be out. So with him being out, we don't know what the Warriors are going to be. The Lakers have LeBron sitting out currently.
Be in the play-in tournament,
like you got, the Nuggets. That Jokic is amazing, but we don't know what they can do outside. I mean, Jamal Murray's been better than what I thought.
He's been pretty nice. He's been
but we don't know. We don't know. And like we just talked about with Dallas, so this is a Western Conference where the play-in matchups are going to be really intriguing, and the first round matchups are going to be intriguing. So it's kind of going to be about seeding, like who seeds where. That's going to be really critical and crucial. Yeah, totally forgot about the Grizzlies. I kind of wish they would have made it.
It's and now on the East side, the Nets aren't really a factor anymore. So that cuts it down to really 3 teams.
They just have a base. Yeah, they just have a base
Celtics,
of players.
Bucks, and Sixers. That's it.
Yeah. No! Don't disrespect the Cavs, man.
No, it's true. You're right, Cavs. I don't know. Experience
looked like they didn't get that big acquisition. They're one of the other teams that didn't make a significant move in the trade deadline. Yeah. That wing scored.
What do you mean? They got Danny Green.
Stop it. I'll tell you, man. They were looking for Bogey, but they got Danny. That's what happened, man.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
They're looking for that wing score, so they got a bootleg the old Danny Green coming off injury, man. They needed some shooting. But, man, oh, man, don't count out the Cavs because Donovan Mitchell, man. He dropped 71 on the Bulls. This dude dropped 71.
All right, yeah. You're bringing it.
They'll be interesting in the second round matchup, for real.
Man.
They'll be interesting in the second round. I think whoever they get in the second round, I don't know how the seeding would go, but they're going to scare somebody in the second round. Like, I don't know if I would say they beat someone, but I will say they got Philly in the second round. I don't know if that's even possible.
Rivers,
if they did, that would be an interesting.
He gets me nervous, man.
That would be an interesting series, bro.
Yeah. He doesn't go to any of the players. He's like, Doc Rivers. I don't know.
I'll tell you, man. That dude, man.
The doctor. But yeah, listen, NBA, like Zeus said before the pod, this was the most entertaining trade deadline in recent memory. It was just constant moving, constant chatter. And I'm trying to think. I don't remember, and maybe I just didn't pay attention.
Statistically, it was the most deals done ever.
Only 2 teams didn't do something, right?
After the Danny Green acquisition, is only one team.
Oh, Chicago Bulls.
One team, man. One team didn't make a move. And all I heard from my GM, continuity, man. Continuity.
Pulling the Grizzlies. Well,
of course, you got to say that, yeah.
Yes.
No, the Grizzlies getting Luke Kennard. I know I said they didn't do much, but Luke Kennard is actually a pretty decent, considering what they need.
They got a sniper.
I would be, and I know Dylan Brooks is the defensive guy, but I would be trying to get Kennard in that spot as much as possible. Because if you got Kennard on there sniping and
Kennard on one side,
that makes Ja like
Dane on the other side, man, you got 2 of 40% shooting, like knockdown snipers.
Now Kennard is, and he probably won't start because he's just so bad on defense. But if he
stacked at the wing too,
shows but that back to my point, I don't remember the NBA deadline even being like this close to the Super Bowl, but kudos to them because they saw something in. But that whole week, I don't care what anybody says, that whole week was dominated by the NBA. So I'm interested, the things behind the scenes with the jostling of airtime and space and calendar with the NBA and NFL. I just like how they both are like, okay, you're going to put your game here. We're going to put this trade deadline here. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. I like how both leagues are like, we're trying to get as much calendar space.
It was a nice compliment. That week, NBA weekday and then weekends, NFL. It was great, man. It was a perfect week. It was awesome. It really was.
Content-wise. So speaking of content, if you're trying to find where it comes to NBA coverage, NFL coverage, Masters is coming up in April. So there's going to be a lot of content with that. So, make sure you guys are locked into bullheaded_pod. We have any and every type of sport. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts is where you can listen to the audio version. YouTube, like you said, this goes up. It's live right now, but this goes up right after the pod. So you guys can go in there and check it out. Also, check out the shorts with a lot of breaking details with each sport league. And for me, Zoo and P. Bush, we are out.